Hello, welcome to another episode of Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. So we've got quite a few games to round up today. We've got two competitions to cover. So one is the Champions League and the Premier League. So let's begin with the Champions League semi-finals. So this was an interesting tie between Real Madrid and Chelsea. For me, it was quite an evenly contested game. Werner actually had a chance at the beginning where he missed an open chance in front of goal. I feel like that sums up his season or his career at Chelsea so far. But Christian Pulisic was able to get the lead for Chelsea with a great finish where he took it around the goalkeeper and scored more or less like an open goal in between two players. Great start for Chelsea, but Real Madrid got an important away goal, which was a fantastic finish by Benzema. More or less like a scissor kick. I don't know how to describe it, but what a great goal it was. A fantastic player. He's been one of my favorite players for a very long time. I still feel like he's not as appreciated as Lewandowski or any of the other top number nines in Europe. For me, he's one of the best. In terms of the second leg, it will be a very enticing counter, as it could go either way. As it finished 1-1. I guess the Real Madrid do have a chance here with regards to away goals and stuff, but I think it can go either way. So we'll see how that game pans out. The second fixture, Psg Man City. So this was a fantastic game of football. Two very technical teams playing beautiful football. So for the neutrals, it was the perfect game to watch. PSG, to be fair, started off amazingly in the first half. Really aggressive in their attack and put City under huge pressure. They got the goal from their captain Marquinhos. Great start, great header from him from the corner. Second half was a completely different game. Man City were definitely fired up, you can tell. And they just upped the levels in terms of how they played. And they played some exquisite football, really good 1-2s around the pitch. The equaliser itself, excuse me, it was a clever clipped in pass or cross, how we would like to describe it, by Kevin De Bruyne. For me, it's an error from the goalkeeper. Poor reaction in terms of watching the ball, but I think he misread the flight of the ball, and his positioning goal wasn't the best. So for me, it was quite a soft goal to concede, and the second goal was a clever free kick because I think everyone expected De Bruyne to take it, but Mahrez hit it straight through the wall. So the wall unfortunately didn't do their job as it went through between two players. From a PSG's perspective, two very poor goals to concede, and it's such an important tie. And to make it worse, Gale was received a red card towards the end of the game and will miss the next fixture. Excuse me. From Man City's perspective, what an important win. And judging by the first half performance, me personally, I didn't see it coming. So you have to give the players full credit for the way they pushed and did really well to try and get two vital away goals. I predicted PSG to win the Champions League, so I'm going to stick by my guns there. But that result has completely changed the spectrum of the tie. If you're a betting person, it's more favorable towards Man City. But nevertheless, an exciting encounter, which takes place next week. So we'll see how that goes. We can start off our Premier League roundup. So one of the main games, I would say, but also I think the most important results regarding the top four race is Leicester City versus Crystal Palace. So, what a great win for the Foxes, first of all. Coming back from a goal down to claim the win. And in my opinion, they've cemented that third spot. I don't see them, well, maybe a bit premature to say right now, but I don't see them losing momentum. I think they will maintain their form and finish third this season. But the game itself was a great encounter. Palace took the lead. Nice through ball by Eze and Zaha to apply the clinical finish there. The equaliser itself, great ball by Iheanacho. Controlled the ball fantastically in the penalty box and kept hold of it and laid it off nicely for Castagna, who produced a fantastic top corner left-footed shot. I know he's been injured for a couple of months now, but he's been one of their top players this season. Great signing from the summer, I guess. One of the key moments throughout the game was the defending by Johnny Evans, where Benteke was through on goal, pretty much an open goal, and he just made that last-ditch tackle. If that had gone in, that would have, for me, changed the game and would have been very difficult for Leicester City to come back from there. But the winning goal itself, what a banger. Iheanacho, round of applause to him. What a goal. He was not playing around with that finish. Fantastic goal. But I think Leicester deserved it, to be fair. They really attacked towards the second half, and I think it's fully deserved. One thing I'd like to say is massive respect to the players and the officials to allow the Muslim players, such as Fofana, to break their fast on the pitch. So that was a nice moment there. So I'm Muslim myself, so it's nice to see things like that happening on the pitch where it's respectful towards someone's faith. So credit to everyone involved in that match. But as I mentioned earlier on regarding the top four race, I think first spot is Leicester's, and we have to give credit to Brendan Rodgers, who's done a fantastic job at Leicester City. I don't know if you've seen the rumours recently. So obviously Jose Mourinho was sacked, and Brendan Rodgers has been linked with the Spurs job, and he's pretty much distanced himself and said, "I'm not interested. I'm happy at Leicester City." And to be fair, I'm quite glad he did that because he's doing a fantastic job at Leicester City. He's working with a group of exciting young players, and he's working pretty much a very exciting project. For him to leave that to go to Tottenham, who are struggling, let's be honest, and are rivaling Leicester City for that fourth spot, and Leicester City, for me, will get that fourth spot or will be in the top four this season. So there is no reason for him to leave Leicester for Spurs, in my opinion. And I think he's making the right decision. Regarding Spurs' appointment, who knows? We'll probably speak about it in more detail once. Maybe when the season ends. I think that's when they'll probably appoint someone, as it's too premature to do it right now. But we can speak about Spurs later on in the show. The next game was full of goals, surprisingly, because Wolves are normally quite good at home, and you don't see Burnley score 4 goals in a game, let's be honest. So we can just quickly go through the goals there. Chris Wood, for me, was the man who was simply on fire throughout the whole game. Claimed his hat-trick. First goal was a nice finish, tight from a tight angle. The second was pretty much a tap-in. And the third goal was a trademark header from a corner. So great performance for the striker there. The fourth goal itself, mistake by Wolves' defence to concede the goal. Great strike by Westwood from edge of the box, top smashed in top corner. So fantastic goal, and a great win for Burnley. Obviously, Wolves have been struggling in form since the injury of Jimenez, but even Neto being in his last couple of weeks has had a big impact on the team. So not quite the same outfit right now, but nevertheless, I think still a surprising result. But credit to Burnley, who did really well throughout this game. Now, this was one of the most, I think, on paper, exciting fixtures because it had such importance regarding the top 4 race. The goal itself, Timo Werner finally got his goal. Nice cross by Chilwell from the left-hand side and a simple tap-in. I'd like to say you can't miss those, but Werner has missed several of those type of chances. In fact, the one that he missed against Real Madrid was pretty much identical. So I can't get ahead of myself and say he should have scored. But credit to him, got on the score sheet. And to be fair, probably should have scored a second. after Mason Mount had a shot that was parried away by the goalkeeper. But Werner just wasn't able to hit the ball on target and hit wide, unfortunately for him. Big talking point for this game was the actual red card, unfortunately. Valbuena um, tried to hit a long ball and followed through and hit the defender, I believe it was Alonso, on the shin. For me, it's a harsh decision. You can clearly see that he was trying to hit a long pass and he just followed through, but had no intention to hit the opposite player. Moyes said after the game that the decision was made by someone who hasn't played the game. You can't really argue with that, and to be fair, I fully understand his frustration as it was such an important fixture. Um, yeah, I don't think it was a red card. Will it be overturned? Remains to be seen, but that's refereeing decisions for you this season, which has been sometimes overshadows the actual football that's been played as it's affected a lot of the games. But nevertheless, great win for Chelsea, who are in a stronger position now in fourth, 3 points clear from West Ham, who are currently fifth. So for West Ham, they need to keep going. They need to have the faith that they can turn it around. Um, Now, because they're playing a chasing game, all they can do is win their games and then see how the league, where they end up in the league at the end of the season. There's no point of thinking about it too much. Just go out there, win the games, see how it goes, and try your best. At the end of the day, so nevertheless, I think West Ham have had a great season, so shouldn't be disappointing. But it's not over. Few more games left in the Premier League, so it's not over until it's over. So I say it's not over until it's over. I have to be brutally honest. I think it's over for Liverpool in regarding the top four race. Um, frankly, I don't think Liverpool deserve to be playing Champions League football next year. We've been awful this year. I know we've had major injuries, and I don't want to keep repeating stuff that I've been speaking about earlier in the season. But our attack have been below par. Is probably the nicest way of saying it because they've just not performed at all. Mane just looks a shell of himself. Salah has been able to get important goals. He scored 20 goals in the league. Um, but for me, he should be getting more in terms of the chances that he gets during the games. He hasn't been as clinical as he probably has been when he first joined Liverpool, to be fair. And Firmino, for me, goes missing in games. And he normally a very consistent player in terms of how he plays, but this season it hasn't been the case. So, yeah, very, very poor performance from our attackers. The goal itself, fantastic goal by Salah to open the scoreline. But for me, Salah, Firmino, Mane, and Jota were very wasteful in front of goal during this game. And I have to say on record, I've said it before, I think a number 9 has to be a priority for Liverpool to sign this summer. I'll be doing an episode soon, and I've said this before. I've just not been able to have the time to do it. But I will be doing an episode for all my Liverpool fans and Liverpool followers where I'll be speaking about the summer transfer activity and targets that I feel like Liverpool should try and go for in the summer, or well, there'll be realistic targets as well. I'm not going to say Harry Kane and Haaland and Mbappe. So we'll try and keep it as realistic as possible. Analyze the areas that I believe we're weak in and maybe needs some strength in terms of the squad. So look out for this special episode in the coming weeks. But back to the game. Liverpool had so many chances to extend the lead. Yeah, it was very frustrating to watch. And for me, it's the second half. I feel like first half we had a lot of chances. Second half, you just felt like the more chances that Liverpool were missing, something's going to happen. And oh behold, it happened. Callum Wilson was through on goal. First goal was ruled offside. So I think a few years ago we probably would have said harsh. It's not a penalty. But I guess the letter of the law now, because he kind of used his arm to push the ball downwards to have an advantage. I guess it's the right decision, but Nevertheless, justice was served for Newcastle, and they were able to clinch the winner from their super sub, Willock. And if you watched my previous episode, especially around the transfer January window, I said to the Newcastle fans, you signed a good player in Willock there. Because I saw a lot of uncertainty online regarding the signing of him because Newcastle fans weren't aware of what type of player he is or what he bring to the team. And for me, I knew he'd bring goals because he's that type of midfielder that's a driving force, and he's able to get goals. Got a good left foot on him as well. So for me, it's good to see that he's kind of performing well for Newcastle. And if I was Willock, I'd probably seek for a loan move next year, get a full season under my belt because there's no guarantee that he would get games at Arsenal. So I think it would be fantastic for him to have another season at Newcastle, um, continue his development, and maybe go back to Arsenal in the future. But it's so important for him to be playing regular minutes, as even at Newcastle, he's not getting that many, but whenever he plays, he does make an impact in the team. So kind of shows you his hunger and desire to be successful. So that would be my advice for the young player there. But in regards to for the result, Newcastle fully deserved the point. And I said it last week in the last episode. I think Newcastle are safe, and I think their status in the Premier League is secured now. Now there's a 9 point gap. So yeah, I don't see any sort of hiccups or any misfalls for Newcastle. So Newcastle fans, I guess you can sleep easy a little bit. And I think you will be playing Premier League football next season. Now the final fixture, which was the first match of the match week 33, was Arsenal and Everton. Everton got a very important win, to be fair. And as strange as it is, I believe they have a game in hand. So if they win that game, excuse me, they could be challenging for top four. They've got an outside chance, but you never know because if they have that game in hand, anything can happen. So, but regarding the game, one of the talking point was the disallowed penalty decision for Arsenal. Me personally, thought it was a ridiculous decision. Ceballos was fouled in the box. Penalty was ruled out by VAR, but I don't know if it's me, but when they showed the replays and they showed you the line to suggest that the player before that incident was offside, for me, it didn't look straight. It didn't look in line with the defender and the attacker. So I don't know if that's me nitpicking or if that's me not being impressed with VAR, but it just didn't seem like a clear-cut offside for me. So yeah, I think harsh on Arsenal there. For me, VAR it's still not being used correctly. So for me, either next season it needs to be scrapped or it needs to be operated a different way because I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's ruining the game. So we can't continue to have these talking points for every game. It should be about the goals of football itself, not these silly decisions by people in the office and don't actually know what they're doing. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of VAR, but the goal itself for Everton, yeah, bit of a howler for Leno, unfortunately. Ball goes through his legs after a tame effort by Richarlison on the right. Embarrassing for the player. I've seen some fans say that, why did we sell Martinez for Leno? Leno's not a bad goalkeeper. He's a good goalkeeper, but he does have that in his luck, unfortunately, where he does make silly errors. But fortunately, it cost them the game. Arsenal will be disappointed with the result, but they've got some breaking news or some development regarding a takeover. So the Spotify co-founder and CEO, Daniel Ek, has stated that he has the funds to purchase the club. So with this whole Super League embargo that happened a week ago. Feels like such a long distance, wasn't it? I feel like every fan base is against their owner, especially the teams that were involved in the whole proposition. But it seems like Arsenal may actually be the team that get their way. Not quite sure that it's that simple because Kroenke is not going to just sell Arsenal just like that. Um, he knows owning Arsenal club is a money machine for him, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. But the Swedish billionaire owner is a big Arsenal fan and has recruited some former players to be part of the project. So very interesting news for Arsenal there. It's probably nice to see that a fan wants to own a football club. That's just like a dream for all of us. So me personally, it's probably early talks right now. I don't see it happening straight away, as I don't think the owner would sell. It's the same with Liverpool with FSG. Liverpool, apparently there was rumours that I believe a party in the Middle East made a 3 billion bid to purchase Liverpool. Yeah. And they rejected apparently. So I don't think it's that simple where you can just buy a club. There's so much around it that happens. Just got a comment here from a mental health guy who I know is an Arsenal fan. I don't believe a takeover is happening. I don't believe so either. But you never know. That's just how I'll say it for now because he's come on TV and he's gone on record to say we've got the funds, so we're going to try our best to um, negotiate or start some discussions because Kroenke hasn't dismissed it. I'm sure he's open for discussion depending on how much money is put on the table. So, watch this space. Takeovers don't happen overnight. So it's one of those stories where it will build. But you never know. I'm sure Arsenal fans will be cancelling their Apple Music accounts and switching over to Spotify if that takeover ever happened. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes there. Mental health guys just sent another comment. I think fans have to stop watching games and stop buying merchandise. Yep, that is probably the right step. But unfortunately, as fans, we love our club so much that it's very hard to just step away and do that. I know everyone purchases their monthly subscriptions to sports broadcasting channels and buying the shirts and stuff, but it's just one of those things. It's easier said than done. If you love your club, it's very hard to just walk away like that. But it's true, people do protest and get their sort of voice heard as well. But me personally, I don't think a lot of that stuff works. But yeah, regarding what you said, I do get your point, but it's very hard for a lot of fans to just walk away, unfortunately. So I'll present my team of the week that I like to do every week. So here's my team of the week. So I've got Dubravka in goal, who for me had a fantastic game against Liverpool. Made some very, very important saves. The strikers were wasteful, don't get me wrong, but nevertheless, he did make some important saves. So I've got him there in my starting lineup there. As you can see, my formation is a 3-4-3. So my back three, I've got Chilwell, played a really good game and provided a great assist for Werner to help clinch the winner there for Chelsea. I've gone for Egan in my centre back position. It was a close one between him and Evans. I've gone for Egan simply because Sheffield United were able to get a rare win for them this season, and kept a clean sheet. So I thought it would only be fair to have a Sheffield United defender in my starting lineup. So that's why I've got him there. Castagna for me, back in the team, scored a fantastic goal. So yeah, for me, he's one of those top players that surprised me, as I wasn't aware of him that much before he joined Leicester City. But I've been really impressed because He's adaptable to play left back or full back, and with no problem whatsoever. Natural in both positions. So fantastic player to have in your team and your squad. So great signing for Leicester City there. My midfield four, I've got McNeil, um, who was very pivotal in Burnley's win against Wolves and managed to notch up a couple of assists there. Pereira for me has been fantastic form in the last few weeks for West Brom on a score sheet again, so that's why I've got him in my team. El Ghazi again has been one of the better performers for Aston Villa since the turn of the year. I believe he's been really scoring really important goals for the team. I was able to get a point over the weekend, so I've got him there in my team. Salah, as wasteful as he was, I've got him here due to that goal. That was a clutch moment, one of the best goals of the week. Front three, Timo Werner got his goal. Finally got his goal. Wood, fantastic. Hat trick and assist as well. Really good. And Iheanacho got an assist and scored probably the best goal of the week to clinch the winner there. So that's my team of the week there. Now, if you've been following the Premier League or English football news, you know there has been a Hall of Fame launched for the Premier League. So the first two inductees were Thierry Henry and Alan Shearer. For me, these two were definitely the right choices to go first. It's been a debate or not discussion, but I feel like some fans have stated that it should have been Ryan Giggs or some other players as well. But for me, in terms of Alan Shearer, 100% has to be there. He's the leading Premier League goal scorer of all time. Can't can't not have him there. And Thierry Henry, for me, in terms of foreign players, made the biggest impact when he came to the Premier League and just changed that way of playing up front. So for me, revolutionized that number 9 position. So for me, yeah, I wouldn't dispute those two inductees. But as fans, we are actually able to vote for the next 6 inductees. So if you go onto the Premier League website or if you play FPL, you can do it on the app, which I've already done. There's a selection of, I believe, 20 or 21 players that you can choose from. So I voted for 6 players. So I'm just going to go through the players that I've gone through. So I've gone for Pierre Schmeichel, as I feel like he was such an important signing for Manchester United. And I think in the Premier League era, I haven't seen a more dominant goalkeeper than Schmeichel. He was fantastic for the team. Not just a goalkeeper, but his presence. He was a leader and definitely commanded his area whenever he played. So for me, one of the Premier League legends, without a shadow of a doubt. Got another United player in my selection. I've gone for Rio Ferdinand, who played at the top flight for 15 years, 20 years, 20 years, I believe, from 95 on to 2005. Yeah. And, but yeah, he had an impact at West Ham, Leeds United, and Manchester United. So, and he's won so many titles at United. So for me, he deserves to be there. In terms of my, excuse me, apologies, I have selected 3 midfielders. So I've gone for Steven Gerrard. So some might be looking at me like, oh, you've gone for a Liverpool player. What a surprise there. But come on. One of the great Premier League midfielders, hands down. There's no even a debate for me. I know he didn't win a Premier League trophy, but the way he played, you can't tell me he was one of the best players in the world at the time. There's only some players that can defend and attack. And he has such an influence in the Liverpool team. You know, when he was playing for Liverpool, Liverpool weren't as great as they currently are. So you have to kind of appreciate how great he was playing for a team that wasn't up to his level. And he certainly carried Liverpool at times. FA Cup finals, the Champions League 2005. He's a fantastic player. Simply world class. No other words to describe him, to be fair. Second midfielder I've gone for is Frank Lampard. I think for a midfielder that scored so many goals, you can't ignore that. He was fantastic for Chelsea for a number of years, consistently scoring double figures every season, and was just a great player. It's just a shame for me, well, not for me, but I think more for England fans, that Gerrard and Lampard would never play together. Which for me, I don't feel like the managers that were appointed at that time were tactically savvy to play both of them, because in today's football you can definitely play them in a 4-3-3, 100%. So yeah, a bit disappointing that that never happened. But in terms of him playing for Chelsea and even West Ham, he was a great player for West Ham coming up through the ranks. But Chelsea made a big impact and was phenomenal in terms of his overall play and the goals that he was able to help in terms of winning titles. So he has to be there. Similar to what I said about Thierry Henry, I have to speak in the same tone for Patrick Vieira, who's my third choice in terms of midfield. For me, he was just mid different type of midfielder that I had never seen before. So great defensively, but had such great presence. I was able to drive with the ball and even get goals at times. He was a phenomenal player, leader as well, really strong in terms of how he played, dictated play as well, complete all rounder. So yeah, for me, fantastic player, world class, and has to be in the Premier League Hall of Fame. So those are 5 players I've selected. This is the one that I found tricky in terms of picking an attacker, because there were the likes of Ian Wright, Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen, Les Ferdinand. I've gone for Didier Drogba. I think he had such a big impact for the Chelsea team, because I remember when he joined Chelsea, it was kind of similar to Thierry actually in terms of their path, because when they first joined, the first 6 months or the first season, maybe you can even say, they didn't start off in flying colours, and the fans were uncertain in terms of their futures. Like, were they good enough to play for their clubs? But he was phenomenal in terms of his second season. He was just, most of the times for me, he was unplayable. I remember watching him playing against Liverpool because we had so many encounters with Chelsea. And I believe it was one of the semi-finals that we played in Champions League, and he was just unbelievable. We had Sami Hyypiä trying to man mark him, just couldn't get the ball off him. And he was the player that would always score in the finals, and he would turn up for the big games. For me, that shows you the type of player he is, and his stature as well. Because if he can play under that pressure and perform and deliver, you can't ask more than that in terms of your strikers there. So for me, has to be one of the contenders for the Premier League Hall of Fame. So that's my 6 choices. So just to recap, because I've been speaking about it quite a bit now. So I've gone for Schmeichel, Ferdinand, Gerrard, Vieira, Lampard, and Drogba. So let me know in the comments what you think of my selection. Um, did I go for the right type of players, or are there players you feel like I maybe should have, considered in my selection? Let me know what you thought, and yeah, we can discuss it on social media. I'll do a post on social media in my account this week. But FPL roundup. So yeah, FPL has been a bit of a hit and miss for me, if I'm quite honest with you. I managed to notch up. Let me just check for you guys. Managed to get 45 points, so not the best, to be fair. But I believe there was one gentleman who actually is the current leader, who goes by the name Ash. He got 66 points. So well done to Ash. He's clear from Jordan Smith, who's second right now with 88 points. So I think it's pretty much safe to say he will probably be crowned champion, or champion of our FPL. So we'll see. We'll see how the next few weeks goes. We've still got a few more weeks left. But before we wrap up, we can just do a preview of match week 34. So for me, there's a lot of games being played, but these ones have a bit more importance. So Manchester and Liverpool, this game always has an importance, just down to the rivalry. Manchester United have been in great form, have been notching up consecutive wins. Liverpool, not so much, dropping points in the last couple of weeks. But if they were to win this tie, or win this fixture, it's not a tie, it's not a knockout phase. If they were to win this match, it might change a few things. They might put them back in that top 4 race. Me personally, I don't see that happening. I think this match has got a draw written all over it. So I'm going for a 1-1. Only because I don't feel like Manchester United go all out regarding these fixtures, especially against Liverpool. They always play defensively. So for them, it's more important that they're able to gain a point rather than lose any points whatsoever. So for me, it's a 1-1 result there. And got the West London derby here between Chelsea and Fulham. So for Fulham, I don't see them surviving, unfortunately. It's too much of a big of a task to do right now. There's only a few games left, and teams above them aren't really dropping points. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Chelsea. And for me, I think Chelsea will get the 4th spot if they're able to get this win. We do have West Ham, who's quite close, but I just feel like it's pretty much there and then now. Mental health guy has his comment saying, is the top 4 already set in your opinion? I think it is now. I think it will end. City is winners, obviously. United, Leicester, and I think Chelsea will get that 4th spot. West Ham will, don't get me wrong, they will probably try their most to get it, but I think the quality that Chelsea have and the experience that they have as a collective and the manager, I think they'll just about nick it. But we'll see. But that is how I would predict it, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, so that wraps us for today. If you've enjoyed the episode, enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do plan to do a next episode, which will take place next Thursday, 6th of May at 9:30 p.m. UK time. So please make sure to tune in. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and shall see you guys very soon. Take care. Goodbye.